Hi, welcome, and thank you for joining this presentation. As a part of ineducation's annual Blast-Off program, I'm sharing some insight on how you can impact your community through crowdfunding. Let's start. My name is Jessica. I'm an artist here in Ohio. I'm an illustrator. I've recently done some enamel jewelry design. I've also done commissions, logo, and label designs. And my biggest project has been the Forager's Daughter Tarot, which is an illustrated deck of cards that I created 2 years ago. I've completed 3 successful campaigns on Kickstarter, 2 for my tarot deck and 1 for the enamel pendant series. I have learned so much through these experiences of crowdfunding, and I'm happy to share what I've learned with all of you so that you can hopefully crowdfund your own projects. So what is crowdfunding? It's the process of raising money to fund a project, a small business, or for charity or donations. Basically, think of a big fundraiser where people from all over the world can contribute to bring your goal to life. There are 3 main sites that you can crowdfund from: Kickstarter, GoFundMe, and Indiegogo, and I'll talk a little bit more about the differences between the 3 of those later on. Why should you crowdfund? It's a great way for someone to share their ideas with the world and to have people who are interested support it. It can provide the startup cash to bring a project or product to life, or it can provide funding for a specific cause. The things that you can create through crowdfunding can have a huge impact on the world around you. Your idea could help make someone's life easier, more enjoyable, and in some cases can directly aid others who aren't in a position to help themselves. Who crowdfunds? Really, there are so many people that do this, and it's anywhere from artists, writers, game designers, entrepreneurs, engineers, product designers. The list is really unending. I've got some examples on this page here of projects that were created through crowdfunding. These are some of the most successful ones, and you probably recognize a couple. There's the Exploding Kittens card game, and the original Fidget Cube were funded through crowdfunding. Basically, if you can think of a product or a cause or a reason to fund, financial support, you can do it through crowdfunding. What is it you're funding? These are questions that you want to think about as you're starting to launch your campaign, and the kind of thing that you want to fund determines what platform you use. So Kickstarter and Indiegogo are designed to bring an item, product, or experience to life. GoFundMe is more designed to fund a cause, a charity, an organization, or an event to bring awareness to something. And so another question you want to think about is, what do your backers get? What do these people get from supporting your project? If you're fundraising for a charity or a cause, the people that are part of that community will directly benefit from added programming and support. The more excited you are about the project that you're funding, the more others will be excited as well. How will you follow through if your campaign is successful? That's a big question, and there's a lot to consider that we'll talk about. Let's use a t-shirt design as an example. I've got the I Love New York t-shirt here. And so you'll start by creating a design, but you want to think about what that design means. Why is it interesting to others? This will help you determine who your audience is. And other questions that you'll want to think about will be, are you finding a company that will produce the t-shirts for you, or are you printing them yourselves? Successful campaigns are usually those that are the most developed. There's an idea or a product for a product or a project, a clear understanding that's stated of what it takes to bring this to life, lots of research on how it will be produced, and clear rewards for your supporters. So you want all of that very clearly laid out in your campaign for people to see and understand. Before you launch your campaign, some things that you want to do are start promoting your idea to friends, family, online groups, in forums, through social media. You want to build your audience of people who are interested in this idea. The larger the audience you bring to your page, the higher chance of successfully funding you are. So these are people that are already interested in what it is you're doing, and once people outside of that group see that you've got this foundation, that are confident in the project, they'll be excited and likely to back it as well. How does crowdfunding work? You basically create a web page on one of those platforms that I talked about earlier, where you have information, images, mock-ups to show others what it is that you plan to create, or you have information about the organization or the charity or the cause that you're looking to support. You'll want to set a funding goal, so be realistic in this. You want to do your research, really consider what it takes to bring this goal or this idea to life. You don't want to undershoot yourself. If you set your funding goal too low, you will be at risk of not being able to produce the thing that you set out to create. You also don't want it to be too high to scare people off and think that maybe the campaign won't reach its funding goal. So you want a kind of in-between balance there. You'll also want to include cost of production, any shipping fees, a margin for profit if you're creating extra stock of the item you're producing, and any taxes or fees. So Kickstarter, for example, takes a 5% fee out of successful campaigns, and so you'll want to build that into your funding goal to make sure that you have all of that covered. You'll also want to include shipping costs. I think I mentioned that earlier, but that's really important. The next thing that you'll do is create reward tiers. This is what people get if the campaign is successful. So back to the t-shirt design, you'll have your t-shirt with your design produced on it, that if it's successful, you'll be able to send that t-shirt out to your backers. But are there other items that you want to create? Maybe a hat with a design, or stickers, additional t-shirts. There's all these things that you can add into your campaign to make it even more exciting. You'll also set the duration for your campaign. An average campaign is 30 days, but you can do as little as 15 or as long as 60. And you'll collect pledges through your crowdfunding page. After the duration that you've set ends, either your campaign is successfully funded or you haven't made enough to hit your goal. Something else to consider during the campaign is to engage your backers. This is really important. You want to update them on the funding process, production progress. You can ask them for insight or thoughts on the project. Back to the t-shirt design, you can ask them to vote on new designs if you wanted to add additional t-shirts. You can create a poll and send it to your backers. And they really like being involved in campaigns that way. So after you've set up your campaign, you've gone through the 30 days or whatever the duration is that you set, one of the end goals is that your campaign is funded, it's successful, which is great. This is really exciting. It means that you can move forward with creating your project or sending funds to this cause or charity. So once your campaign is successful, the money from the pledges will be sent to the bank account that you used to set up your campaign. This usually takes between 14 and 16 business days. So you'll want to be sure to plan that into your production timeline. You'll also collect backer information. This includes shipping info. If you have variations of your items, again, the t-shirt, if you have different t-shirt designs, the backers can select which design they would like. They can select what size t-shirt they need. So there's surveys built into these crowdfunding platforms that allow you to ask all of your backers these important questions related to fulfillment. And so now it's production time, so it's time to create. If you're making the product yourself, you'll want to collect supplies and equipment and begin production. If you're outsourcing, you'll want to send your designs to a manufacturer and begin that process. And then shipping is one of the most important parts of running a campaign. You'll want to set realistic shipping timelines for yourself. This gives you time to create and receive the product, to check for quality, to pack and then ship it out. You'll need to research packing supplies like boxes and envelopes, and you'll also need to purchase shipping labels, which you can do through USPS or UPS. One thing to note is that you'll want to determine early if you open your campaign to international orders. So this is a great way to share your idea and your project with the world, on a larger scale, to make sure that impact is really spreading as far as it can. But international shipping is definitely something to consider if you're creating a physical item. So make sure that you think carefully about that before you launch your campaign. Another important note is that you'll want to be sure to thank your backers. So without them, without these people who pledged and supported your campaign, it wouldn't be created, it wouldn't be successful. So you want to make sure that you include a thank you note or a small gift like a sticker, or if you're selling your product, later on in a shop, you can include a coupon or a discount, just a small thank you to let them know that you really appreciate them supporting your idea. So one of the outcomes of crowdfunding, unfortunately, sometimes campaigns are not successful. You don't meet your funding goal for whatever reason, and that's okay. Not everybody will have a successful campaign. It doesn't mean that your idea isn't good. It means maybe some things need to be adjusted, which is why you can always take time to revise and rethink your campaign. There's a lot of things that can determine how a campaign goes, including the time of year, economic or political climate, and current trends. So if your campaign is not successful, it's always a good idea to kind of reevaluate your plan and find out what you could do to do better next time. One way to do this is to get feedback from others. So you can share your page or your idea with friends and family. There's lots of communities online that can offer feedback on your page, and you'll want to see what they think about it. So is it missing something? Is there information missing? Is the funding goal too high? Are there not enough mock-up images for people to understand what it is that you're creating? These are all good questions to ask. And the good thing is that you can always revamp and try again. You can work on building your audience. You can see if you can grow the number of people who are initially interested in your project. You can collect more mock-ups, do more graphic design. You can ask someone to help you design your page when you are ready to, try your campaign again. So there's lots of ways to take a not funded campaign and turn it around and try it again and make it successful the next time. And that's basically it. That's crowdfunding in a very small nutshell. Thank you for listening and for joining. And if you do have questions about crowdfunding, I'm happy to answer them. I know Sona and DeAndre can share my contact info with you. My websites are down below. If you'd like to visit those, you can contact me there as well. So thanks, and good luck on your crowdfunding journey.